Hello everyone, I'm Entom64, and welcome to the next Fullcast Com, the next free Fullcast Comms actually, and we've got a retro, really hard platforming trio for you. We're going to kick things off with Ghosts and Goblins. With me, I have X-Gamer Richie.
Hello!
We have the Hell Dragon, THD.
Hey.
And the one who actually recorded the damn games, Mexican Bass Monkey.
That's Sir MBM the Fast.
Okay, well, we can call you Arthur from now on, I guess. Take it away, mate.
Alright, so this is a relic of back when Capcom had a really big just arcade scene. They were sort of a third party in terms of consoles, and their main dealio was making arcade games. And so Takuro Fujiwara was one of the big designers back in the day. He decided he wanted to make his own walk to the right while jumping and shooting shit games, but he wanted it to be in a more medieval setting since Capcom had already done the whole robot dealio. So he based it all around Arthurian legend, but not really, because despite the same name, this is not King Arthur, this is Knight Arthur.
Yeah, this is the most out there portrayal of Arthurian lore since Sonic and the Black Knight.
Squire Boy Arthur.
You saw at the beginning how he was having that picnic with the girl. Well, that's Princess Prin Prin, which is such a ridiculous name, it just makes me want to play Yume Penguin. So they were having that lovely that picnic when she got suddenly kidnapped by Satan. Yes, Satan.
As you do.
Yeah, the actual full-fledged Satan, not like a fake made-up name Satan. No, the actual King of Darkness himself. That's actually pretty impressive for the guy.
Not store brand Satan, the real deal. I guess we should, now go around the table and discuss what's our history with Ghosts and Goblins. I'll make mine quick. I have none. At all. I know Arthur from basically, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and that's about it. What about you, Richard?
I have absolutely no experience with this series either, other than as knowing it as a cultural thing.
Thanks for picking these games, Maxi, by the way.
No problem.
And also just for being a massive Arthurian legend and medieval romance person, so it's not quite the Arthur I would want, but I'll make do.
What about you, Helldragon?
Man, I am just gonna echo what everybody's saying, and I have a feeling this is gonna be a theme. I haven't really had experience with this series either. The main reason I guess I haven't really touched it is because, again, I know of its reputation. I know it honestly has a penchant for being super bullshit at times, and honestly I kinda hate that kind of game design, so that's why I haven't really touched it, to be honest.
I like games that scale in difficulty, that start out fairly easy, and then by the final boss it's forcing you to learn all the tricks and whatnot you've learned throughout the game. Here it starts off hard and remains that way.
Pretty much, yeah. There's no curve. It is literally a linear line, a flat linear line from beginning of the game to end of the game in terms of difficulty.
But this was early on when, a lot of early NES games were based on arcade stuff, so of course the arcade was super bullshit in order to make sure you kept feeding it quarters. But on a home console, that doesn't really fly that well, does it?
Yeah, no, that is exactly the point, was that when a lot of people complain about the G&G series, I can't even call it Ghost Goblins, Ghouls Ghosts, they switch up the names. In Japanese, it's, they're pretty much Demon Village World, or something like that.
Huh.
So I tend to just go with that, or G&G. But yeah, they're originally token takers. That was the whole point, was to just make you spend all of your fucking money, but it doesn't translate. It didn't translate gameplays-wise, and in terms of the NES version, it really didn't translate graphically, because I'm not gonna lie, and you can see for yourself, this game is fucking ugly.
Yeah, it's barely holding together at 60 frames per second.
Kind of weird that we have a 60 frames per second consideration we need for NES games now on YouTube. That's just scary.
Yeah, well, because with this game, they ported it to a million different things. They had a Wonder Swan version. I think there's a Game Boy Color and a Game Boy Advance version.
Yeah.
But the reason I went with the NES is that it's easier for me to record, and because... Shut up! No one else wanted to record it. I'll record it however I want.
yeah. I mean, we had a whole month of retro playthroughs. What's one more in the tank, I guess? Richie, you sound like you're trying to burst in with some info, mate. What is it?
Well, just in addition to Mexi was saying about the series being called Demon World Village in Japan, that's the translation. The actual title is Makai Mura, or something along those lines.
Always expect Richie to come in with the true, literary or language facts.
That's what I'm here for.
Name something whimsical in Japanese, I'm sure. Do they have a Japanese term for extremely bullshit shoot 'em up?
Toho?
Toho, yeah, maybe, sorta.
9,000-year-old witches that look like 6-year-old girls throwing pellets at you.
Yeah, completely okay.
So I'm noticing that Arthur loses his armor every so often. Is it a kind of like Super Mario deal in that if you get hit when you had a big mushroom, you'd become Tiny Mario, and then getting hit again would cause you to die?
Yes, Arthur is quite the expressionist. He starts with the most pathetic suit of armor in all of Europe, or in all of Demon World, that once he gets hit once, it just flies off of him, and he's left with nothing but his skivvies, which in this version are red. And then if he gets hit again, he dies. That's it. There's no way in this game to buff up, so you just get those 2 hits.
Oh, God, that's evil.
Yeah, but once again, it's all about getting your delicious, delicious quarters.
Also in the beginning, when he was with the princess, Prin Prin, I'm tempted to call her Princess Prefix because it looks like she just stole 2 for her whole name. Wasn't he also in his skivvies there, out in the graveyard, having a picnic with her?
I told you, he's an expressionist. He's more free and alive without his suit of armor.
Well, you Helldragon, you can't really say that you've never had a picnic in your underwear with your loved ones, have you?
Well, I don't really know how to follow up that sentence, so I'm just gonna ignore that.
Smart move.
I have.
Oh, well, I guess you were right at home recording this then. So, how do the levels work? Is it just a straight like A to B kind of scenario? Are there any like hidden routes?
Not in this game. This game only has 6, quote unquote, 6 levels. Like I said, the whole plot of this game is Princess Prin Prin has been kidnapped by Satan, so we have to go down into the underworld to retrieve our girlfriends. Pop quiz, Richie, which mythology is that?
Oh, I even know this one.
That would be, it's
You
sort
fail!
of...
It's Orpheus! You missed this in the last playthrough!
Damn it, I was beginning to think Dante's Divine Comedy, because he doesn't exactly go to get his girlfriend, but he still goes through hell and up through Purgatorio and stuff to see his dead girlfriend.
Are we talking about Persephone here?
I was thinking Persephone. I was also thinking about that one where he goes down into... that one guy goes down to Hades to, like, get his girlfriend back, but he has to lead her out, and he can't look at her, otherwise she has to go back. That was the other one I was thinking of.
That's Orpheus.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Okay.
That was the
okay,
same
alright.
thing Tom last time when he was talking about putting Cerberus to sleep. We just don't seem to get Orpheus all that well, but Ghosts and Goblins is pretty much one gross mistelling of that same mythology.
Yeah, gross. That's a good way to describe this game.
What weapons does Arthur have at his disposal against the hordes of the underworld? Is there any you tend to prefer?
Well, you begin with the lance, and lance is pretty simple. You just toss it, rate of fire. I believe in this version, they carried over the Mega Man rule of 3, so you can only have 3 projectiles on screen.
Okay.
So you have the lance, you have the dagger. The dagger has a faster rate of fire. You have the torch, which has the same rate of fire as the lance, but it has a shorter arc, but it leaves flames on the floor. And you have the axe. There's also one more weapon, that's the shield/cross, which you will need to beat the game. In this version of the game, weapons don't really matter, except for the fact that some enemies are invincible to the cross. So, I had to re-record this game because I got halfway through, carried the cross with me to one of the bosses that's immune to it, and I couldn't beat the game. Like, there was nothing I could do. The weapon was ineffective.
Oof. Oh, I'm feeling it. I'm sympathy cringing over it.
That's just really mean, isn't it?
It's stuff like that, I think, that really kind of makes this game sort of shitty to me. It's like, it relies on so much bullshit. You have to have this specific weapon, you gotta do it this specific way, and it goes out of its way, the game, by the way, to make sure you can easily not have this weapon you need. Like, you guys have seen when Johnny reviewed this game, right?
Yes.
I think that's one of his only reviews I haven't seen.
Well, he expresses a lot of very good points about how this game is honestly super fucking bullshit. And again, you know, that's why I haven't touched it, because I don't like games that don't play that way, to be honest.
The ones that don't play fair, you mean?
Well, fair enough, right?
Well, to me, the only bullshit was just the fact that the boss was immune to that weapon, and I had no way of knowing when. Because it's the shield, and it's really good because it can actually shoot through enemies' projectiles. It's really short range, but it has a good rate of fire, and like I said, you can pretty much ignore enemy projectile with this. So I was like, this is a pretty dope-ass weapon. I'm gonna carry it with me for the rest of the game. But no, the boss was immune, and I just thought that maybe it did less damage to compensate for its, like, immunities, but no. The boss was just not going to take any damage from the shield.
I'm noticing already they're reusing a lot of enemies. Is that a running theme throughout G&G?
There's not that many enemies. There's, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 11 types of enemies in this game.
Wow.
They work with what they had, I guess. Is this the final boss?
No, the room was an illusion. You're now going to have to play through the entire game again so that you can give Capcom more money.
Oh, well, let's go ahead dauntlessly then.
GG, yes, Ree?
Why am I always drinking when you make these stupid puns?
You gotta stop drinking when we're doing this, man.
Isn't it true that you need the cross to get to the final boss?
Yes, in order to get to that room where you fight against, that's Astaroth. Even though Satan was the one who stole Princess Prin Prin, we defeat him as the penultimate boss, and then we defeat another one of him, which is another thing that this series carries over, is that, you know, you think you've reached the final boss. No, here's another. No, that's not the real final boss. Here's the real final boss. But that's supposed to be the first twist of the game, was that even though Satan kidnapped the princess, the real big baddie is Astaroth. And then once you defeat Astaroth, no, that was actually an illusion created by Satan, so now we have to go fight the real Astaroth to save Princess Prin Prin.
Two things. First and foremost, when you say Astaroth, I think of the character from Soul Calibur. And number two, I really don't like that kind of, like, gameplay convention where the game essentially tricks you and says, haha, play again. I would much rather it, like, state towards the beginning, like, play on such and such difficulty to get the proper ending. Or at the very least, be like, I don't know, Sparkster and just cut the game off at a certain point if you're not playing on, like, hard mode.
Even then, that's still kind of shitty, don't you think? Because, I mean, like, why even pop the game in to begin with if it's just gonna, you know, shit on you unless you play it exactly their way? That's lame. And, you know, it's kind of funny that G&G here does this, because it seems to exemplify everything Capcom has been lazy about, you know, in a lot of their games. They reuse shit all the time. There's lazy filler just to try and steal, you know, more money from you. Especially bad here in this arcade conversion. So, honestly, it's just kind of a shit fest all around.
But the music is so good, and I actually do have a lot of fun playing this game, because it's really tight. Arthur's physics, they never waver. There's no, like, weird little sub-pixel tricks. Honestly, the game, even, like, the enemies themselves, they're not all that difficult. You just need to know that there's 3 ways to take care of enemies. Shoot them, run away, or outsmart them.
Ah, yes, the second one, the JoJo family tactic.
The JoJo family tactic, because that's one thing that I see a lot of people do wrong when I see them play this game, like either on a stream or at a friend's house or whatever, is that they try to fight every single enemy. It's like, no, there's no reason, just keep going. You're wasting your time, and you're getting yourself hit because you think you have to shoot every last enemy on screen. Just evade them, or in a lot of cases with some of these enemies, lure them into areas that give you an advantage. Like, you can actually have positional tactics in this game.
It reminds me of the Game Grumps playthrough of Zelda 1, where Danny would just go around killing every enemy, even if it didn't, like, even if it wasn't required to open a door. It's that kind of OCD mentality, I guess.
Well, I mean, a lot of games are like that, aren't they? Yeah, like, you know, you just have that compulsion to kill everything in the room, even if it doesn't accomplish anything.
I guess so, especially so in these, like, old-school 2D ones.
That's why I say that you really shouldn't try to do that. Just fight what's in your way and ignore everything else. It's for the better.
I mean, I suppose, in a way, it's kind of similar to Zelda 2, in that it actually, playing well and knowing what you're doing puts you in much better stead than either just blindly fighting all the enemies or kind of just doing stupid stuff.
Thank God you qualified that, because I originally thought you were saying playing good is good.
I couldn't agree more. Get good or stop playing.
Be good or be gooder.
So I'm using the knife now, one, because it just happened to drop during the first level, which, like I said, I immediately wanted to get a different weapon, because it was the first boss, whose name is Unicorn. He's immune to the shield. So that's even worse, that they have the boss immediately after the fake final boss be immune to the weapon needed to get to that boss.
Yeah.
So I quickly grabbed the knife, and the thing about the knife is that a lot of people who haven't actually played the games and just go based off what reviewers on the internet say, which is a common thing lately with video game opinions.
Oh boy, don't look at me over here. I'm innocent, thank you very much.
But a lot of people say that you need the knife to beat the game. No. The knife is a pretty okay weapon in this game. Later on, when we get to the other games, that opinion's gonna change. But with this game, you don't really need the knife. Hell, you can use the torch, the one that everyone says is the worst weapon of all time. There's nothing wrong with it. If anything, it helps with some of the later levels when you want to get rid of enemies that are gonna, trail behind you.
Admittedly, I never leveled up the knife in Castlevania, but the knife here seems a lot more useful than the one there.
Its whole dealio is just its rate of fire, which, okay, just smash faster.
Yeah. Holy water for life.
Well, it helps that this knife doesn't run on hearts for some reason.
Well, maybe Arthur just has infinite heart because he's going after his love and not just trying to kill the vampire.
Well, wouldn't you? Have you seen her can? Wow!
Have you seen that sprite? Yo, that sprite be bitchin'.
Jesus Christ.
I want to see, the first attempt at Princess Prin fan art from, 20, 30 years ago.
Just look at the box art.
Because you saw what happened with Mega Man and fucking Captain N, right? Maybe they saw her on a green TV screen. Oh, okay, her skin is green. Makes total sense.
Is that really the reason why Mega Man is green in that show?
Yes, it was because the TV the guy was looking at Mega Man on was so shitty that it turned the blue into green. That's why he's like that.
Oh, you told me that in our Mega Man 3 playthrough.
Yeah, and you totally forgot. Well, I guess I can't blame you, because I forget other shit too, so okay.
Well, to tie all that back in, Fujiwara actually produced a lot of the Mega Man games. I know he produced 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he produced 7. He produced X and all the way to X3. He helped produce pretty much all of the Disney Capcom games. Ooh. Pretty much any of the, Mega Man-like games, he either helped, was an advisor, or was a producer until he just outright left Capcom and made his own company, Whoopee Camp, which would go on to make the Tomba series.
Really?
I played the demo of Tomba back in the day and I really liked it, but I never got around to playing the full version.
Dude, Tomba's hilarious because more games need pig riding mechanics.
I still have no idea what the hell those ghosts are. I know they're ghosts, that's what they say they are. But they look like fucking shrimp or something? That's the closest approximation.
I was gonna say burritos, personally.
Flying burrito monster.
What's their real name, Mexi?
Woody pigs.
Huh?
What? Makes even less sense. Yeah, I know.
I'm hoping that's a mistranslation.
I think I like the burrito idea better.
Burrito ghost, I agree with. Let's roll with it.
The ghost of burritos past. You will be visited by 3 Taco Bell meals.
First is the ghost of Crunch Wraps past.
Oh, the Hell Dragon goes enjoying his joke again.
I can have a good time, come on.
You're getting, pixel close to these enemies at points, Mexi. Do you know no fear?
Well, the problem is that Arthur's hitbox is a little disjointed from his sprite.
Goody.
So, things can touch him, but things just can't get inside him to count as a hit.
Oh my.
Well, this joke is going exactly where you think it's going.
There's a lot of ways to avoid getting hit. It's super easy just to manipulate and dodge past enemies.
But, did I just see you run through an enemy there, or was that just sprites being weird?
It could have been one or the other, but I will say the hardest thing in this entire game is climbing ladders. Because for some weird reason, when you get to the top of a ladder, Arthur doesn't just get up. You have to actually hold up while he climbs off of the ladder.
Oh.
It's a pain in the fucking ass.
It's the climbing the stairs thing, Castlevania all over again.
Yes. Which, that maybe back for the, 2 years that Fujiwara worked at Konami, he, picked up on that? I don't know.
Yeah, I admit, Arthur's pretty manly here to just take on the hordes of hell with only a knife. At least Doom Guy needed, a fucking super shotgun, you know?
Or a BFG.
That too, that helps. But this guy, no, I'm just gonna stab everything personally. Get closer, I want to hit it with my sword.
Or the Jesus shield.
Or the Jesus shield. Is that what we're gonna call it? I guess it's kind of a Jesus shield. It is pretty impressive that he's also throwing whole shields horizontally. Not even like Captain America style. No, he just flings the fucking thing and it works.
What you guys don't realize is that Arthur isn't English. He's American. He's as American as Captain America himself.
I know some people who would disagree with you on that.
Me.
This enemy placement looks annoying as shit. Again, Johnny brought this up, a very good point, that it's just, it can be incredibly hard to get up these ladders with these, demon guys spitting on you all the time. I assume that's spit.
Yeah, well, it's spit, saliva, whatever, but that spot is actually the hardest placement, and I actually like it, because it's a smart one that they did. It's super dickish, but they knew exactly what were your movement options, and they restricted them. What you want to do is climb up the ladder just to trigger the red airman, climb back down, get rid of him, and then lure the, troll dude away from the ladder so that you can get rid of him. And then climb up the ladder. In terms of, a platformer, it's a bit too much planning, but I think for this game, for the end of the level, that's the last level, I think it's kind of a smart placement, if not overtly dickish.
Or is this a super special secret final boss?
No, this is just the final boss.
Oh.
And we defeat him by throwing shields at his face.
I hate fighting Astaroth on 4 Glory, it's ridiculous.
That's it?
That was it?
No second form or anything?
No, he doesn't even get more HP. You just do the same thing you did last time.
The story is happy end.
Also, congratulations.
We feel the strength!
Feel strength welling in your body, return to starting point. Jesus fucking Christ. Well, there is no returning to starting point for us. We've started, and thus we shall go on. We'll see you guys next time when we take on Ghouls and Ghosts. See you then.